top that.
Question. I can't top
Thanks.
that now. Oh, I was thinking of like
Lowbrow then.
That's right.
I am Steve Applegate. I work at Bog Turtle Brewery here in Rising Sun, Maryland. I brew the beer. I help out with the operations, the kitchen, front of the house kind of thing. And that's my partner, Chris.
Hi. My name is Chris Davis. I'm also with Bog Turtle Brewery, one of the owners with Steve. Again, handle more of the back office kind of stuff. Also brew beer. I've been doing it for a number of years. And it's been a wild ride, and here in Rising Sun, we're really happy to be here.
Well, in Oxford, we had our brewery for just a little bit over 4 years. And we started off just as a manufacturing facility. We made beer and we sold it in the local bars and restaurants. Then we started doing growler fills so people could come in and get their favorite beer for takeout. From there, we started a sidewalk cafe and opened up our tasting room so you could come in and get a pint of beer. And then we started doing all kind of fun entertainment. We had bingo, we had movie nights, all kind of things like that. Unfortunately, our lease ran out, so we had to move. So we started looking around for places to move in Oxford, and unfortunately, we just couldn't find anything there. So we started expanding our search, and that's when we came across Rising Sun, who was very eager to have us come into town and just kind of help with their downtown renovation projects. So here we are.
Well, I've always been interested in it. I have a degree in chemistry, and before moving down here, I originally lived in up near Buffalo, New York, and kind of dabbled in some homebrew. But even at the homebrew level, it's a little difficult to kind of break into to do it with a little less effort. And you got to get some equipment. You got to make an investment. Moved down here in 2007, and as it turns out, this guy already made the investment. So got involved with a neighborhood homebrew crew, and that evolved into a homebrew club. We would get together with 4 other neighborhood guys.
Rain or shine.
That's right, rain or shine.
Or hurricane.
Or the Rapture.
Yeah, or the Rapture. We worked through the Rapture.
The Rapture. It was amazing. We have a beer called the Rapture. But yeah, we did the first Saturday of every month, and it was just a really great reason for a bunch of guys to get together and have fun brewing beer and, smoke cigars and do some grilling on the grill, and and this is how we kind of got into it, and it became a hobby that became a hobby on steroids that then moved to a business, a legit business. So it was a nice organic evolution, I think.
I've got a problem. I'm a hobbyist. I like to research things. Well, that's just one of my problems. Find out about things. I'm a computer nerd. So when I found out that you could make beer at your house many, many years ago, that's what I wanted to do. So I researched that, started like so many guys with a pot on the stove, doing the homebrew. And then that was awful, so I would look to see how I could improve the process, buy a little more equipment, make a little bit better beer, make a little bit more beer. So I ended up taking some courses. I got certified to be a BJCP judge for brewing competitions. That's about when I moved into the Oxford, PA area and started the homebrew club in my neighborhood. So the guys would come over and we'd brew, and that led to big bulk purchases and more equipment, and it just got to the point where, we figured we'll open a brewery. If it works out, great, fantastic. If it doesn't work out, we have the coolest guy place to hang out, drink beer, throw darts, that kind of thing.
We never got to the throwing darts part.
No, it turns out you got to pay attention when you're making the beer. Yeah,
It just kind of took off.
Dude, BJCP is no joke. I come from an IT background, so it's all tests and certifications and stuff. That was the hardest test I've ever taken in my life, bar none. Just the fact that you take the test means you're a judge. It's that hard. You don't really have to pass it. They'll just pair you up with a higher level judge. You know what I mean? But it's hard. Yeah, I think it plays into the mindset because he's got an IT background. I have an IT background. You know, thank God that he has the business background that he does. So we're not just like, you know, playing in the water over here.
No, we're still doing that.
Yeah.
I just don't tell you.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, I also have a restaurant background. I worked in restaurants years ago. You know, opened a bunch of places in Philadelphia, things like that. My wife, who manages the front of the house, she also has a restaurant background. She's done training at various places and things like that. So.
I've eaten at a lot of restaurants, so I think I'm, you know, by proxy, you know, guilt by association, so to speak.
With any person in history, wow, that is a tough one. I could go highbrow, I could go lowbrow, I could do all kind of things with that. I am a big fan of Alexander Hamilton. Yep, and his role in founding the country that we love so much. We even have a little tip of the hat to history with our Rochambeau Red Ale. So we all know Rochambeau and his great contribution to our freedom. So yeah, I have a lot of interest with that. Read the Hamilton book not too long ago. Powered through that. Not an easy task.
Powered through that.
That one stung a little bit, but I got through it. It was intriguing. So, right off the top of my head, Alexander Hamilton.
You know, when I think of, not necessarily historical, but certainly passed away, I would say John Wayne. You know, he is the man's man, right? You know, as you think about, you know, people who were influencers, if you will, on society, you know, as an actor. But I just think it would be amazing to sit down in a casual environment, maybe that green couch over yon, and sit back with a nice dark beer and just say, you know, John, what's the meaning of life? You know,
Damn.
in your
I bet
words.
he knows too. I really bet he does. Now I'm starting to think of all the people that I just want to party with. And, just have a beer. The hell with asking questions and stuff, you know?
You know, it's interesting. I tend to be a low-key guy, but if I was given the opportunity to quote-unquote party, you know, with people, I'd probably turn an eye to like musicians / maybe celebrities. So I would think like, you know, Steve Vai. Would be a cool guy to party with,
Steve
I think he would have some really insightful, you know, discussions.
He's quite the intellectual too.
Yeah.
I might say. I don't know about the party animal part, but he's the intellectual. Mine is easy.
Oh, he knows.
Here we go.
Yep.
So I'm gonna bring out the Pantera Cowboys from Hell tattoo and Dimebag Darrell Abbott. There you go. Enough said. Well, the problem with that one is that I don't always like the same type of beer. So I go through phases where I'm big into the Saisons. I go through phases where I'm drinking IPAs or New England IPAs, wheat beers, things like that. But I always come back to Rochambeau, our American style red ale. So that's, I'm going to say, my overall go-to. Even though I cheat on the Rochambeau, I always come back to the Rochambeau.
Right. I enjoy all the beers, but much to Steve's point, I've always been a bigger fan of the dark beers. And I would say, you know, again, going back to our flagships, because they're always available, Cattail Honey Brown, our American, you know, brown ale. We shove a metric ton of honey into that boil.
Local honey from Swarm Busting Honey, right down the road.
That's a fact. Yep.
True story.
Try to keep it local. It just has that nice toasty character and a little bit of coffee, a little bit of chocolate, and then those honey notes come through, largely from the honey malt as opposed to the honey, but it's just a good, great, drinkable beer.
That's tough because, like I said, I change all the time. I go like not seasonally, but I'll be on a kick for 6 months and then totally just done with that, and then another kick. I usually go back to I like saison, so it might be saison. It's like a nice peppery saison as opposed to a more lemony style, which some of them are. They seem to go like a black pepper spiciness that I like.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I like the darker beers, so I'll always gravitate towards porters or stouts. And if I had to drink it, that was the only beer, right, gun to the head, you can only drink it for the rest of your life, I'd probably settle in on a porter. We make a good vanilla porter here, I really enjoy that. But really any porter just has a nice...
Any porter in a storm?
Ba-doom-tsh. Would really enjoy that, I think, if I was stuck on an island with barrels of a beer. That would be the one I would choose to be stuck on an island with. I will say my least favorite beer is really like a Czech-style Pilsner. I just don't really enjoy that dry Pilsner taste. I mean, I know there's a lot of funky beers out there, but if you were just kind of sticking with like a mainstream style, that would be me.
I would say anything under 5% ABV.
It's called Coors Light.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard of this devil juice.
I try not to follow the trends too much. Our flagships, they're fairly traditional styles. We put our spin on them and our take on them, and we kind of brew them the way that we like them, which skews a little sweet. The hazy New England IPAs, we have a hazy New England IPA, but we don't have 9 hazy New England IPAs. We try not to. You want to experiment. You want to make everybody happy and try different things and that sort of thing. So we'll dabble as opposed to jump in with both feet. My God, what the next fad is going to be is hard to say. I've seen the glitter beers. How do you top the glitter beer? I don't know. We shall see. We've seen the black lagers and that whole thing. I don't know. It's always seems to be the result of one-upsmanship. You made that hazy dry hopped beer. Well, I'm going to make it hazier. I'm going to make it thicker. I'm going to make it, with lactose and thicker and the whole thing. So that's what it seems to stem from, is just one-upsmanship. So I don't know what the next one could be. We'll see. Mm-hmm.
I suspect as trends grow in foods and other beverages, you're going to start to see them kind of creep their way into the beer scene. Obviously, we talked about it before, but your sours are becoming the next IPA. As things go. It's got a little ways to go, but I see that's going to become the next sexy thing to drink in beer. It already is to a degree. I think it's only going to grow.
Depends on who's brewing.
That's right.
So, as you've seen from the tattoos, I tend to skew a little more angry than some people do, a little more aggressive. But we might have the Led Zeppelin on or things like that. But you might hit the Pantera Day, the Megadeth Day, things like that.
I tend to be a 90s alternative guy. I think that's just what I grew up on. It's what I'm familiar with. My kids listen to it. They love it. So I get it all around when they're there. The old classic rock stuff. Every once in a while I'll go classic rap, get some Run DMC in there, right? got to. Beastie Boys, right? Sabotage. Oh yeah, that song is coming on tonight. I can tell you it's not the money. You know, it's interesting when you get into something and it's a passion, and the rewards are back behind us. People coming in, sitting at the bar, all the awesome comments that we get from folks around the decor and stuff like that is great. But we've always had, and our last place didn't have this level of decor at all, right? But we had we had a good following there, and it was always about the beer. And there's always some level of satisfaction you get out of, I made that, you know, and people are enjoying it. And so, you know, for me, I think that's probably the biggest compliment or tip of the hat that you can get is when people just say, your beers are really solid. They're really good. I think for a while there, we toyed with the idea of having a wall of sayings on the website, like, this is actually pretty good.
One of my personal favorites.
Yeah. And you know, not bad, and like people are surprised, and there's a little bit of that to be, I think, understood. If you had seen the prior location, it was like being in someone's garage or being in a basement
chic.
Yeah, basement chic. You know, people thought, you know, whatever, but we put a lot of pride and care and love, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, if you will, into the beers, and I think for the most part, it's just really nice to have people say nice things about your beer when you're just kind of walking around and asking about how are things going.
Yeah, as I mentioned, when we were in Oxford, when we started out, we were just making beer. That's it. We weren't having any sales on site. It was all to sell a keg to the other bars. You know, so it was kind of a little sad, and it was just like, you know, trugging off to work and making the beer and that sort of thing. When we started doing pint sales on site, that was it. That was the payoff for me. You know, having all the people come in, having them hang out with us. We're making all new friends, you know, just super nice people. And just, yeah, that social interaction where they could come and it was like the neighborhood hangout. You know, this was the pub where everybody went to meet their friends. That's what I enjoy. And that's translated over here very nicely. You know, we just have a warm kind of casual environment. You can come, you can sit down, you know, and just feel relaxed. So you meet your friends, you meet your neighbors, you meet some new people, and everybody's just talking and having a good time. I've never heard a harsh word said to anyone at either of our locations. Beer just makes people happy. You know,
so it makes people happy.
Yeah,
we're going to put that on the website.
They're smiling, they're enjoying themselves, and everything's great. So that's what I like.
I cannot say enough about Maryland and the town of Rising Sun and how we've been welcomed here. For those folks that were present, like yourself, for our grand opening, having that level of dignitaries come.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Just be thankful that we opened up a brewery. I mean, it was like, we didn't cure cancer, guys. All we did was open up a brewery. But
as far as they know.
Yeah. Our beer cures cancer.
Maybe
that's what we told them. But the reality of it is, I mean, it was just such a, you know, again, a different experience with different circumstances, right? We had a very slow roll in Oxford on how we got to where we were, and you know, here we came in with a nice place and good quality beer and, you know, staff. We employ nearly 30 people here to, you know, between the kitchen and managers and staff, and we've just been received really well, and I just would be remiss if I didn't say anything about that with regards to the township and the support we get from the state in allowing us to kind of really follow our passion, for sure.
Yeah, true story. I mean, that's huge, because we could have gone in a lot of directions. The town of Rising Sun reached out to us. The mayor reached out to us. everybody has just bent over backwards to make our transition smooth, to make sure that our needs were met, that we had what we needed. The county government has been supportive, the state has been supportive. So yeah, we know for a fact we made a good call when we moved into this location in Rising Sun. So it's just upward and onward from here.
Yeah, for sure.